In the shadow of Manhattan's glittering spires stands a structure so controversial it changed American law, sparked a movement, and forced the city to confront its very identity, all because people simply couldn't stand looking at it. When it opened in 1963, it wasn't just the largest commercial office building on Earth, it became the most hated structure in New York. With a single architectural decision, a beloved vista vanished. A treasured landmark was overshadowed, and for the first time, New Yorkers rose up against the forces reshaping their city. A gigantically second-rate addition to the skyline, wrote the New York Times. One of the ugliest buildings in the world, declared many New Yorkers. And to ordinary citizens walking beneath its shadow, it simply felt wrong. Yet this concrete behemoth was designed by Walter Gropius, a legendary founder of the Bauhaus, a master architect with dreams of bringing European modernism to America's greatest city. The story begins in post-war America. New York, untouched by the bombs that had leveled European capitals, was poised to become the undisputed center of global commerce. Corporate headquarters sprouted skyward as the economy boomed, but beneath this growth, a quieter decline was taking place. Grand Central Terminal, once the gleaming cathedral of American rail travel, was struggling. As passenger numbers dwindled, the New York Central Railroad began looking at its most valuable asset, not its trains or tracks, but the air rights right above them. Developer Erwin Wolfson saw opportunity. Rather than building directly atop Grand Central itself, he would use the air rights just behind it, over the rail yards north of 45th Street, creating a massive office tower at the nexus of urban transportation. To elevate the project's prestige, Wolfson brought in two titans of modernist architecture as consultants, Walter Gropius, founder of Bauhaus, and Pietro Belluschi. Their involvement would transform a conventional glass tower into something far more ambitious and controversial. Gropius rejected the original glass design for a concrete-clad octagonal slab, but his most fateful decision was rotating the entire structure 90 degrees to sit east-west across Park Avenue rather than lengthwise north-south as first planned. This rotation maximized the building's presence but ensured its broadside would face downtown Manhattan, directly blocking the view up Park Avenue, a vista New Yorkers had cherished for generations. Building directly over active rail tracks presented unprecedented engineering challenges. Massive columns had to be threaded through existing infrastructure without disrupting service. Working primarily at night, construction crews achieved what many considered impossible. Throughout the entire foundation phase, not a single train was delayed, nor worker injured. By 1962, as the structure neared completion, its impact on the city became unmistakable. The building's east-west orientation created exactly what critics feared, a massive wall across Park Avenue's elegant corridor. Meanwhile, Pan American World Airways, America's flagship international carrier, signed on as the anchor tenant. The airline's globe logo and enormous illuminated letters, each 15 feet tall, soon crowned the roof, broadcasting corporate identity across the skyline. On March 7, 1963, the Pan Am building officially opened, but from the moment the public got its first real look at the finished product, the backlash was immediate and visceral. Ada Louise Huxtable, the formidable architecture critic for the New York Times, delivered a devastating assessment. It is a lesson in how to be mediocre without really trying. For its bulk, its importance, its effect, and its ballyhoo, it had an obligation to be much better. Critics and artists alike savaged the building. Pop artist Klaus Oldenburg even reimagined it as a giant ice cream bar on a stick, a biting visual metaphor for its awkward presence on the refined Park Avenue. For ordinary New Yorkers, the most unforgivable offense was the blocked Park Avenue vista. For decades, looking north up the avenue, one could see Grand Central Terminal and above it the elegant New York Central building with its ornate crown. Now that cherished view was bisected by a mammoth slab of concrete and steel. To preservationists, the building's relationship with Grand Central Terminal was especially painful. Though technically built behind the terminal, it appeared to be sitting on top of it, like a giant squatting on the station's shoulders. Many saw this as sacrilege, a historic gem of civic architecture rendered insignificant beneath a private office tower. In 1965, a new feature opened that perfectly captured the building's jet-age ambitions, a rooftop helipad. New York Airways offered direct helicopter service between the building and JFK Airport, a 7-minute flight that allowed executives to bypass Manhattan traffic entirely. But on May 16, 1977, disaster struck. A New York Airways helicopter toppled while passengers were boarding, causing a rotor blade to break free. The blade swept across the roof and down the street, killing 5 people. Helicopter service was immediately shut down, never to return. A tragic end to the building's most futuristic feature. Pan Am Building's debut coincided with another architectural trauma. In 1963, the magnificent Pennsylvania Station was being demolished to make way for Madison Square Garden, prompting historian Vincent Scully's famous lament, "One entered the city like a god, one scuttles in now like a rat." Grand Central Terminal itself remained under threat. By 1968, architect Marcel Breuer unveiled plans for a 55-story tower to be literally perched atop the terminal, gutting its grand waiting room into a mere lobby. The public, still smarting from the Pan Am Building's impact and the loss of Penn Station, was in no mood for another assault on Grand Central. A movement coalesced to save the terminal, led by luminaries including Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis. After years of legal battles, the case reached the US Supreme Court, and on June 26, 1978, in a landmark 6-3 decision, the court ruled in favor of the city, establishing that preservation laws were constitutional. Grand Central was saved, and the Pan Am Building had inadvertently helped galvanize the movement that had made it possible. Meanwhile, Pan American Airways faced turbulent times. By 1981, the airline was forced to sell its iconic headquarters to Metropolitan Life Insurance Company for $400 million. Soon, MetLife glowed in the place of Pan Am, the jet-age dream fading as more mundane corporate identity took its place. The airline itself would collapse in 1991, but its most visible legacy would outlive it by decades. Throughout the 1980s, architectural discourse evolved dramatically. The stern minimalism of the international style gave way to postmodernism with its playful references to historical forms. Philip Johnson's AT&T building with its distinctive Chippendale top represented a direct rebuke to the modernist orthodoxy that produced the Pan Am Building. In an ironic twist, the 1990s brought Grand Central Terminal's triumphant restoration. The terminal that the Pan Am Building had overshadowed was meticulously cleaned, repaired, and revitalized, becoming not just a transportation hub, but a destination in itself. Today, younger New Yorkers often express puzzlement at the building's notorious reputation. "It's just always been there," says one. "It's part of New York," shrugs another. To them, the MetLife Building is simply a landmark for navigation, a piece of the only Manhattan they've ever known. The story of the Pan Am Building offers timeless lessons in urban development. It warns against prioritizing size over proportion, profit over context, novelty over harmony. It reminds us that buildings exist not in isolation, but as parts of a shared urban fabric. Perhaps the building's most positive legacy lies in what it helped save. The backlash against it, combined with the destruction of Penn Station, fueled a preservation movement that has protected countless architectural treasures nationwide. Grand Central Terminal and the skyscraper above now coexist in an uneasy balance. Different eras, different aesthetics, locked in perpetual tension but functional symbiosis. The view up Park Avenue remains interrupted. The building still stands precisely where critics said it shouldn't, but 60 years of weathering, both physical and metaphorical, have integrated it into the cityscape. What was once an alien intrusion has, through sheer persistence, become familiar. Today, this concrete colossus stands not just as an office building, but as a monument to a pivotal moment when New York began to reconsider its relationship with progress and preservation. The most hated building in New York may never be truly loved, but in forcing the city to confront difficult questions about its future, it helps shape the more thoughtful approach to urban development that continues to resonate in skylines around the world. Not every lesson must be learned from beauty. Sometimes the most powerful teachings come from the most spectacular mistakes. Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you liked the video and would like to support the channel, please like and subscribe. That stuff really helps the channel out. And if you have a friend that you think would also like this video, please feel free to send it their way. If you have any video topics you'd like us to cover in the future, feel free to drop them in the comments below. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.